Yo, what's up? YouTube, what's good, guys? Fellow retainers, how we doing, man? It's been a few days since I made a couple videos. It's kind of my new pattern, making videos every couple days and shit like that. Been focusing on some other areas and then trying to get some information for different videos that I want to be dropping. So this is definitely one that I want to talk about, you guys. The topic that I want to talk about is essentially how God will isolate you, on your SR journey, and really like any type of spiritual path. God's gonna isolate you and put you in a season of isolation, for however long it might take. I know that's what I'm going through right now. I've had a bunch of opportunities to hang out with different females and shit like that maybe I have been speaking to or whatever, and for some reason they just keep falling through. You guys, they just keep different scenarios keep popping up as to where I can't make it or they can't make it or whatever the case may be. But it's definitely a sign from God that he wants me to just keep working on myself, you guys, and stay single for the time being and stay isolated, because he doesn't want me to obviously go down that path to where I'm like in a thing with some girl and then starting to just release all the time, having sex all the time and doing that whole thing, So I really believe that's why, this keeps happening. So there's a verse, you guys, from the Bible that I wanted to read about this topic. It's from 1 Corinthians 7. All right, I'm just going to get into it, you guys. Now for the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to marry. But since there is so much immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband. So you guys, right up the way, he's saying, it is good for a man not to marry, okay? First of all, he's saying, if you can't control your urges, if you can't control your sexual urges and not being sexually immoral, he says, you can marry at that point, you know what I'm saying? But if you can control it, it's better for us to not get married, to not be with a woman, so he's definitely pointing out that being single is powerful, because being single connects us with God, because we don't have a different power source to where we could use women to be our entire power source. That's a huge problem for a lot of guys. They put women on this pedestal and it's just, I'm gonna hang out with this girl, I'm gonna go, meet up with this girl. I know you guys feel me. There's so many guys that just like, that's their whole life, you guys, is making money and hanging out with women. So I'm gonna keep reading this here. But since there is so much sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife and each woman have her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. Okay, he's basically saying, when we get married, we can have sex, essentially. It's not a sin at that point to have sex when we're married. That's what creates the bond, and we can have sex at that point. It's not sexually immoral. We give our bodies, we give our flesh to our partners at that point. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all men were as I am, but each man has his own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. He's all saying that we all have different gifts, from God. We all have different strengths and we all have different paths that we're supposed to take, but we all have a purpose, a God-given purpose from God, and it's on us to figure out what that is. But you guys, the isolation period that I'm talking about is for us to do exactly that. He isolates us so we can figure out what our purpose is. We have a woman in our life, she'll distract us. We'll be too busy hanging out with her, watching Netflix and movies and stuff like that, going on dates, where we're, all the other areas where we're supposed to be focusing in on, finding our purpose, getting in the gym, going to work, making money, all these things all these other areas, you guys, that we need to be focusing on in our life to be powerful dudes, the woman will, distract us from this if we're not careful. So now to the unmarried and the widows, I say it is good for them to stay unmarried as I am. That's what he's saying, you guys. He says when you're single, it's easier for us to connect with God and find our true purpose. He's literally saying it right here. To the unmarried and to the widows, I say it is good for them to stay unmarried. It's easier for us to connect spiritually when we're single. I know you guys feel me on that one because it's just facts. When we're single, we look for our strength from God. When we're with someone else, we just rely on that other person for love and, nurturing and, sex, whatever it is, being intimate. It's very easy for us to fall into that pattern, you guys. So he's essentially saying, when we're single, we're supposed to be working on connecting with God and a spiritual solution. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. So he's essentially saying, if you can't handle your urges, get married. If you can't stay single, connect with God, learn how to retain, he says then just get married. It's better than to be out here single and being sexually immoral, So that's basically what it is, you guys. The message that I wanted to get across today is like the isolation journey is so that we can learn to find our purpose, find our purpose in what we're supposed to do. First of all, learn about ourselves and learn about, all of our strengths, all of our weaknesses, and find out, what it is that God wants us to be doing out here. A lot of people go their whole life and they don't end up finding, their true purpose, so semen retention is a great tool for us to use to be able to do this, you guys, because it definitely isolates us and it definitely taps us in with ourselves and our, spiritual connection with God. So he's going to show, he's going to be revealing a lot of stuff to us. He's going to be revealing all, what he wants us to do in this life. It's just on us to pay attention. So if you guys are in a period of isolation, just stay strong. That's why, I'm in the same boat, you guys. So, we just got to stay strong out here, keep listening to God, keep listening to these messages, and stay focused. All right? All right, guys. Much love, and, I'll be talking to you guys soon. All right, stay strong. Peace.